So, welcome to the Kickass Midlife Method presentation podcast on the mindset reset. So, how to rewire your confidence, strength, and energy in midlife. So, at this kind of time of life, you can often feel like your motivation, your body, and confidence have hit a complete slump. And often, the thing that I notice most of all in terms of those people within the community who have success, it's around the mindset. And getting the mindset piece right is the most important factor. So in this presentation, which will be about 20 minutes long, we'll discuss some major issues that tend to hold back women when they first come into the coaching program, self-doubt, that all or nothing mindset, sorry, that spelling there, and fear of failure. And we'll discuss how we can shift that mindset around to create the mind, body, and energy that you want. So yeah, as I say, it's that midlife. We've already got hormonal shifts going on, which affect, as estrogen declines, it also affects your motivation. Metabolism slows down. We've got the new pressure, often of maybe kids have left home, aging parents. All of that is a whole kind of tsunami of everything all at the same time. But really, it's about your mindset and how you respond to those pressures, which will help you navigate how you get through that. Be much more successful if you can get that right than any kind of specific workout plan or diet. So I'll give you some examples from those people within the community for whom the mindset piece has made a huge difference. I'm not sure whether she's on the call, but Lindsay came to me wanting to train for a marathon. She tried for many years and just kept crashing out through injury. And after many weeks, she's done all her sessions. But to begin with, she was very, very nervous, was sure she was injured, couldn't do the session. And bit by bit, she's hit every single session and gained the confidence and more knowledge of her body every single week. So I use Training Peaks and you'll see all her things are green, all of it's completed. Rachel, when she first came on, I think she is on this call, was kind of stuck in and she's not alone in this. I see this a lot. As soon as you think about losing weight, despite all the stuff and the information I give you, people go, right, okay, that must mean I have to cut calories. So, the calorie cuts come in, the breakfasts of one egg and a little salad with a bit of hummus and oatcakes come in, and then obviously completely unsustainable. You can't live on that. And then you yo-yo into going crazy the next week. And now she's kept up that sustainable kick-ass midlife method nutrition, has lost, I think, over 12 kilos, or maybe it's 10 kilos. And even still now, she'll sometimes have a week or a couple of days, or a day even, that maybe not as nutritious as she thought. And she was avoiding her doing her measurements at the end of every week that I ask you to all do. And lo and behold, I finally got her to do them, and she was still on the downward trajectory. So that mindset is crucial. So number one, I'm just going to check there was no, yeah. So number one is the big thing that I see is that breaking free from negative self-talk. So that the loops that go round and round in your head that I'm too old to make any changes now. I might as well give up because I'm, 45, 50, 55, 65. We've got someone in here. I might as well give up because there's nothing I can do now. We've got evidence of our parents and grandparents before us who obviously didn't have access to the lifestyle that we have. And so we see them have put on weight and think, well, that's just what is the case, or I'll never be fit again, or I've got backache, I can never do it, I'm too busy, I'm a failure at dieting, I'm too fat. So there's constant negative spin that goes on around and around in your head that stops you doing things. So what I want you to do whenever that happens, so if you're someone for whom this is a real thing, I want you to reframe and replace it. So even as you're sitting on this call, I want you to start thinking of what is that thing that you constantly say to yourself that you can reframe so that every time you come to say it, you replace it with something else. For instance, that whole thing about I'm too old to go to the gym, I'm too old, or I'm not strong enough to lift that next weight. I can only do an 8K. To something like I'm old enough to know actually how strong I am. We've all lived through a lot, I'm sure, on this call. So we know they're very, very strong and resilient, and that goes for our body too. And it's about how much stronger you can become. The other big one is I'm a failure at dieting. Now, reframe that to I love eating because we all, I'm sure, love food here. I love eating and I'm going to nourish my body rather than I'm going to fail at dieting. Dieting is just a word for what's in what you eat every day. It's just got a bad connotation. So instead, thinking of about it as I love eating and I'm going to nourish my body rather than I'm a failure at it. So I'd like you to write down one negative thought or have a think about that and flip it into a positive statement. I would say this is possibly the biggest one that I come across in midlife women. So overcoming perfectionism and that all or nothing mindset. So give me a 2 in the chat if this is one that you identify with. Chocolate eggs took over my mindset. Yeah. Give me a 2 if that's something you identify in terms of that all or nothing mindset. So yeah, this is one that I see all the time. Feeling like you need to follow these really extreme rules. Even though I give, particularly at the beginning, even though I give all these like the recipes and I give the kind of lessons on the macros, but still initially through learned behavior over so many years, people will go, oh, well, I'm going to lose weight, so I've got to do a strict diet. Oh, I've got to do a really punishing workout. I've got to burn it. And it's only worth it if I can do everything on my plan. If I can't do it, or I've got like one day where it's really busy and actually it throws me a bit, this is what happens. People just go, oh, you know what? Better just forget it. Forget it this week. I'll start next week. I'll start next week. Then I'll be able to hit everything perfectly and I'll be on track. So you've got to get out of that mindset because it's consistency that beats perfection every single time. Like today, really busy. I had this presentation to do. I had the check-ins. I had like all sorts going on. I could have missed my workout. I had 15 minutes and I managed to do 15 minutes, not my 45 minutes that was on my plan, but 15 minutes. Consistency beats perfection every single time. And if all you can do for one week, maybe you've got a totally hellish week, if all you can do is have your 8 glasses of water and have your protein shake and think about having all your 3 macros, that is good enough. You just follow the process, embrace that 80-20% mindset. So 80%, most of us, 80% can do the stuff, follow the process, and 20% of the time don't sweat it, but don't just give up and think, it's got to be perfect. I've got to be all in or all out. You know, do little bits as you can every week. If you've been on the program for a while, you will have this really lovely graph of your weight and your body fat and your waist measurements, and you will see the difference those small changes make, that keeping consistency just keeps going down. And then kind of touching upon the other points before, it's ditch that extreme view of food and a diet and embrace the idea of food as nourishment. You've got to get out of this mindset that thinks of dieting as a scarcity mindset, that it's about cutting, it's about like depriving yourself. If you're constantly eliminating too many foods, you're going to be, it will give you a bad mood. You'll feel really low because you're probably not eating enough anyway. You'll rebel against the process eventually. You might feel good for like a week, but it's totally unsustainable. You'll rebel against the process, back into that yo-yo of thinking, I'm a failure, I can't diet, back on that roller coaster. So this is fundamental and quite a hard thing to do if you're in your late 40s or 50s, you're born in the 60s or 70s, because the entire diet culture was very toxic around scarcity. If you've done Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all of that stuff was just all about restriction. So this is about nourishment, switching your mind to every time you look at your plate of food or your snack, just ask yourself, is it fueling my body? Is it helping to build my bones and my muscles? Is it going to give me energy that is lasting rather than short? Is it going to help me help my brain? Am I going to be able to function better? So that focus on your protein, fiber, slow release carbohydrates, healthy fats, and hydration all the time. So if it's a chocolate bar, can you replace it with something that is much more nourishing for you? Whether that's something like a um, a yogurt, a Greek yogurt, whether it's fat, a full fat one or a low fat one with really nice fruit that you like, instead of like a Kit Kat with a bit of seeds on it, something like that. And always be thinking, well, is it nourishing my body? Is it actually fundamentally going to make me feel better? Because a lot of this food, also, if it's slowly release energy, it just fills you up and it therefore makes you feel better. And then again, it's that ditch that burn mentality around exercise. So, still, after all these years, when it comes to exercise and weight loss, the overall riding mentality that most people have still, and still on this program sometimes, is the exercise burns the fat. If I just do the exercise as hard as I can, or I'm going to forget about the nutrition, I'll just do the exercises. It doesn't work like that. We're not trying to burn fat with the exercise. We're trying to decrease our fat storage through our nutrition, and we are trying to increase our muscle to empower longevity, empower adventure for longer life, increase our metabolism through building muscle. So stop thinking about, I'm going to use exercise as punishment for what I ate. Or alternative also is to think I've got another thing I've got to fit in somehow. I talk about diarising, putting everything in your diary so it's always there. So my all my work things are in there, my running training, my gym workouts, all of it's in there, normally with a bit of space around it to kind of take uh, bear in mind that I will always procrastinate a little bit, so I have a procrastination margin in my calendar. But rather than seeing that in the diary as like, oh God, I've got another thing to do, think about it as associate it with how it makes you feel afterwards. So ditch the burn and think about it as an empowerment thing. Track your weights, celebrate your small wins, even if it's a half a kilo PB win. Track your lean muscle, which is why I'm always going on about keeping that tracking going in the app. Track that lean muscle. Track your photographs. Photographs will show your muscular development before your scales will usually show the lean muscle going up because it's quite hard to build. So those photographs, although I'm sure lots of you just think, oh God, I can't bear the photographs, they will start showing the results quicker than anything else. So do keep them up and avoid burnout. So avoid that burnout that comes from 1 week of going, right, I'm going to hit all my workouts, um, burning yourself out and then not doing anything for 3 weeks. It's about doing what you can on your plan consistently, not through intensity. Um, and my tip for creating a mindset around the exercise is putting in your diary, your Google Calendar, for instance, your sessions and when you're going to do them, with the procrastination margins like me if you feel you need them, or your time to get to the gym if you use the gym or whatever. But instead of writing it as like workout or gym or whatever it is, write it down in the diary with a word that sums up how it will make you feel at the end. So it doesn't just become another diarized thing or on your list of things to do, and therefore you avoid it because it's just another thing you've got to tick off on your list. Write down the word that you associate with how it makes you feel. So really your mindset is your midlife superpower. So you focus. So you want to write these down. You focus on small sustainable habits. It's why I have you all have those small sustainable habits on your calendars so that you can look at them, tick them off, mark them off day by day. Think of that as your win. That's your win. It's your kind of your getting your mindset. So even if you have a week where you're off on holiday or things aren't going well, keep coming into the app, ticking those off because it keeps you in the right mindset, that mindset that you're doing the stuff, you're following the process. Ditch the all or nothing thinking. It doesn't serve you well at all. Nourish instead of restrict and track your strength progress, not just through the weights that you're lifting in the gym or at home, but thinking about the effects it's having in terms of your musculature with your pictures and your lean muscle. So, yeah, so that's about resetting your mindset, just having a few kind of short little tips about what you could do to change your mindset around fitness and nutrition, trying to catch yourself when you get into this kind of yo-yo pattern of this stuck fixed mindset. And I'd also encourage all of you to stop, try not to fixate on the result, this like result that you're looking for, particularly at the beginning, fixate on the process. So all the processes that I put in place, fixate on that, doing the stuff. Because if you do that and celebrate doing those little processes, all of the results will come and you don't really have to worry about it. So if you stop kind of getting maybe thinking, oh, I should expect results in 1 or 2 weeks, just expect the results from the process and trust the process and you'll get there.